The crash site would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we create, the Yuggera and Turrbal peoples. We also pay our respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Sovereignty was never ceded. Always was and always will be Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's land. Episode 24, brought to you by Zed's Knee, the latest in kneecap technology.
Hi, I'm a knee, and I've got all the things that a knee has. I've got cartilage and other things, and the other things that are inside of a knee. There are muscles in here. There are other things that a knee has. I can't list all of them, but what I can tell you is being a knee fucking sucks. Knees get put to so many things. Everywhere you walk, everywhere you do things, every time you lift something, I'm activated and I'm used, and I get tired, and you never let me rest. And so, next time you're looking at your knee, say sorry.
Introducing the knee tax.
The knee tax. Every time you get money, 5% of it goes to the knee tax.
Knee union.
Have you ever had a knee had?
What?
Have you ever had a knee had?
No.
Yeah, you're walking along and
your knee just gives out.
Had.
What?
Yeah, when your knee just has a had.
You've had a knee had.
Have you ever had a knee had? You can claim money now.
Prangs and hads.
Call the prank gang.
Oh, shout out to my mother. She
just randomly.
She invented the knee had.
Really?
The knee had.
Oh, is she okay?
That's her term. No, yes.
Yeah, she invented it. She's got no knees. They've both had.
I thought that was your intro into being like, oh yeah, my mum had a big fall the other day.
No. Like when I was younger, she would always say knee had. You had a knee had.
Well, like, so that's same as like an ankle had.
Sure, yeah.
No, but you know those times where your ankle just decides to give out. Like you're walking and then whoop, I'm on the floor.
I've never had an ankle had.
Really?
I've definitely had some knee hads.
I've had so many ankle
hads. You guys ever had a neck had?
Yeah. You guys should try heels, bro. Neck.
You ever had a bum had?
You ever had a had?
You ever had a had?
A hat? Okay, back on the train.
All right, back on. Well, where were we? We were trying to figure out. We were in Presque Vu.
Dormez-vous.
Voulez-vous, jamais vu, déjà vu.
Qu'est-ce que vous?
Qu'est-ce que va?
Using tools, but not overusing them.
Wait, what did you say, Zed? That sounded like a really great tip.
I think I had a really great tip to bring us back to the tip of our podcast.
Which is...
The point.
The point of today's podcast is to finish off our list of 33 ways to be more productive and all of those other things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan Holiday.
Thank you, Ryan Holiday, for this amazing list. Because we're going to get started with today's first one. Before we enter the void of knee hads.
Yeah.
And that is use tools, but don't overuse them.
So is that like when I'm like putting the fence up and I've got my vice grip, but I've got also me power bit drill tool, and it's like, well, I could use me tools drill, or I could just like use me hand.
I could just spin my hand around. No, I think what he's talking about is he mentions a lot of like online tools, like things like Basecamp, Buffer, Google Docs, Asana, Slack.
Yeah.
This idea of like having tools that help make your life easier.
Yes.
But there's a certain point where you can have so many tools that things just get complicated, and it actually makes your life harder because you're actually having to use a lot of your time and energy to manage the tools that manage your life.
Yeah.
Well, we've had experience with lots of tools. So what are some of your favourite online tools for editing or for work?
Just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think the biggest one, we operate out of Google Docs primarily.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love being able to collaborate on documents. I think the versatility of Google Docs is pretty brilliant, especially with like the Google Suite and all of that stuff. I think we tried using Notion, and I think Notion is a really awesome software. I actually think it is better for a personal it's better for a personal like setup.
Yeah.
So for like me as an individual, I do all of my writing in Notion, but we tried to use Notion to like manage ourselves as like a collective.
Yeah.
And like what we were trying to do there, I think Notion didn't have some of the core functionalities we needed. Like it didn't allow us to time track what needed to be done when. It became kind of a store of information, which was great, but it kind of just, its main use was what Google Drive already did.
Yeah.
And so I think Notion's really great for an individual because you can organize your whole life there, and like it can all be centralized. It's like one easy place to do it all. Whereas I think when you've got more people operating, having things like Asana and stuff like that is helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's a scale of things, right? You can, because at the end of the day, you can do anything without any of these tools if you really want to, but they're there to enhance your productivity or your workflow, and especially with the storage of digital stuff these days. And that comes in where you are creating and where you are releasing stuff. So maybe finding one or two maximum tools that would really enhance where you're going would be quite beneficial.
And also, really, if you need to be across multiple tools, making sure that you've got a really clean way to integrate those tools. Like if you need information across 2 applications, making sure that you're not like just spending a bunch of time and double entering, or even if you've got to have it across 3 or 4 applications, you know. There are also tools that help you with that. There's one called Zapier, I think, and it like integrates different apps, and they've got a lot of the mainstream apps and some of the kind of more obscure apps and stuff, and there's ways to have things automatically uploaded and stuff, especially when we're talking about content creation and editing. I find it really important to make sure you've got tools that integrate with media storage if it doesn't like allow enough cloud storage within that application, because you just spend all of your time like uploading files to Google Drive and then downloading them onto your computer to then upload them to another program. Like, so even using Later as a marketing tool as well, you can automatically input things from Google Drive and Dropbox, which is really, really handy. It's something that Facebook doesn't do yet. Like, so if you use the back end for Facebook for editing your content for your social media, it doesn't automatically give you access to places like Google Drive or Dropbox, which is quite frustrating because you've got to what you end up with is you end up with 3 or 4 apps that you're using to manage your marketing, and they've all got their own media library, and you've got to manually put everything everywhere. So yes, it's hard to figure out what works best for you, but it is worth putting your time into, spending a week or so just getting it really down pat and getting your workflow down pat, because it'll change everything long term in a big way.
I also think like off of that, it's like starting with one thing, trialing it out, figuring what it serves, like what is its main function, testing it, and then reviewing that, and then seeing if it's actually helpful. I'm also a big fan of like manual things. Like I've tried so many to-do list things. I really enjoy writing my to-do list down. I like the tangible thing of writing it down. So I think also knowing that there are some analog tools that can be used.
Yeah, for sure. And I think at a small scale, you don't really need these programs like Notion or Asana or Monday or Slack. When you've just got like working with a few people, is like if you're seeing each other face to face and you have some sort of messaging way or communication channel that's separate to a social communication channel, and you're seeing each other, you can just I feel like a lot we shouldn't be relying on the computers as much as we are, because the capacity of the computer up in our noggins is actually quite powerful.
That's definitely something to keep in mind. Like if you're lucky enough to be able to work with people face to face on a regular basis. Make sure, especially with file transfers, just do them while you're there. Just do them while you're there, because waiting for things to upload or having enough storage, all of that is just, it's an extra nightmare instead of just getting it done, because you can set up the file transfer and then get on with your day of work and just have it sit there in the background. But it's always going to be faster than doing it online. Yeah,
100%. Moving on from that, we have because I feel like we could get in a hole around different things to use. So we're gonna keep this moving nice and quick to beware of both work addiction and work aversion. They're sort of two sides of the same coin. Ryan Holiday says, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Am I avoiding anything in my life? Am I adrenalizing? Is this really that important? And then it comes down to this idea that we talk about a lot of, like, what's the one thing? What is the thing that is going to make my life easier if I do it now? And is the work that I'm doing actually work that is moving me closer to my goal? Or am I doing something that is actually just making me seem busy?
Yeah, I don't really have much to add to that.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Yeah.
Great little summary on that one.
That was a lightning round.
Yeah, so we're sort of balancing it out now. Now, this next one is my personal favorite. And I've been looking forward to this one because I think it's actually brilliant. Get a goat.
A what?
A goat.
A goat.
A goat.
A greatest of all time?
Yeah. Get yourself the greatest of all time. No, get yourself an animal that is that is a goat. Now, I think Ryan's saying this because he lives in sort of like a large property in Austin, Texas. So he's got space, and I think he has a bunch of different animals. Obviously, where we live, Zane, if we got a goat, it would not be ethical. It would not be practical.
It would not be responsible.
Quite problematic.
It would be.
I imagine.
I think our landlords would not be too happy.
I don't think the RSPCA would approve. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But I like this idea of what lessons you can learn from having an animal, especially an animal that's not like as sort of domesticated as a dog or a cat, but like an animal that requires like certain things. There's patience that has to go into that. There's like a level of care of like feeding it, providing it water, you know, like giving it space to roam. I think there's something also about watching animals like that actually interact, you know, that like with the world around them and that rely on the land. I think there's a lot of skills and a lot of appreciation for the relationship between animals and the land that I think we miss out a lot, especially living in cities.
Yeah, for sure. Even just like being around concrete all the time, if you can't get an animal, maybe just try to find somewhere where there are animals or where there's a bit more greenery to explore.
Go hang out at your local pet barn, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think supporting factory farms is awesome.
Support your local farmers. Go out and do some volunteering for them. They need picking or whatever.
Yeah. I think there's just something about also space. Like having space, like spending time in space and watching how like the land responds to the elements, how it responds to the animals on it. I think even if you do live in a city, it might not be a goat, but also like I noticed that there's certain birds that come around here all the time. You know?
Like that eastern cattle ingret we had once. That was random.
Yeah.
That was so random.
Was that a bird?
Yeah.
Right.
Is that right? Eastern cattle ingret?
I'm going to be honest, Zane, I have no clue. I don't even know what bird you're talking about.
Remember the one that had the yellow feathers on it? And it came and visited for like a week and then it was gone and it would just roam around the back and I kept taking videos of it and stuff.
Do you guys remember that story about that pigeon? That they thought that the story, it was like on ABC News, like SBS News, and they thought it came all the way from America or something, and someone made it look like the pigeon had come overseas on a plane, like stowed away, and there was this big thing, and then the next day it came out that like someone had just faked it.
I feel like I do remember that loosely.
Yeah.
It's quite a great sort of heist in a way. I think there's something quite fun of like using a bird to manipulate the masses. You know?
Yeah.
It's also like what we've been talking about lately is like language and like what if you just make up a word and it gets adopted enough, or like what if you just said something continuously, like, well, continually is the word, and how long does it take until people start to believe you?
Well, also it's because we're taught not to question a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's like you just, if someone tells you a fact, it's like, all right, sure.
Where are your sources?
Yeah, in the fridge.
Thank you.
I do think the journalists are meant to question the sources.
Yeah, it's true. It's very
There's
true.
a problem when the journalism has a political agenda.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, or I think there's also a problem where it's like it's built on how many people are going to click it.
Yes.
Like when that's the
Clickbait.
incentive, like it's all about clickbait, it's all about engagement. When it's actually not as much about actual the investigation, the curiosity, the dare I say journalistic integrity. And now we take a moment to shed a tear for Zane's white shirt that now
That'll
has
come out in the wash.
red paint on it.
That's blood.
It's blood.
Oh, it's blood.
Yeah.
Zane's bleeding. This is how much we give to this podcast. Zane is here with a gashing
Slaving
wound,
away.
bleeding away, and yet we're here moving on to the next point, which is don't set up a voicemail. Or if you do, tell people to email you. I'll jump on this. I have to have a voicemail for work, but what I want to change it to, I haven't yet, but what I've been telling people to do is instead of leaving a voicemail, text me.
That's what I have.
Yeah, I never listen to my voicemail, and honestly, if you don't text me or you don't follow up with a text, I'm not calling you back. It's just too much effort for me. Like you've got to make it easy for me to be able to respond to you. And that's why I think like text is a much better way to like if it's something's urgent, text me, and if it's not urgent, email me. Just I'll respond to you an email. Let me respond in my own time.
Yeah.
Can I jump in on this? And this new expectation in the last 10, 15 years that I've experienced around like devices and having device on you at all times and always being available to take calls is like that. I want to like debunk that. Like if you're getting a phone call, like you don't have to answer it,
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, like I'm actually kind of really bad with my communication with devices at the best of times. But I will try to call back. If I miss a call, I'll call back. And then I assume if it's one call, it wasn't important. If it's two, I'll try to get the second one.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that I used to have a voicemail when I was in high school, and it was silly. It was stupid. It was the most ridiculous. I wish I had a recording of it still. But
Could
I
you
basically
reenact it for us?
Oh, what was it? I think I put a voice on and I just pretended to be some random or something.
Do you guys do you enjoy the joke of that voicemail where it's like, oh, hi, and then the pause?
Okay, I was literally just about to bring this up because for a long time I had that when I was in high school. When I was in high school, like in grade 8 and 9, I had that. Now recently, for the work that I do, I'm managing a bunch of different things because I'm I'm managing a lot of different shows and stuff that's happening for a festival. And someone had that as their voicemail producing a show.
Yeah.
I think it's like fun in a high school setting, but I think the second that you're like wanting people to take you seriously, it's like you can't have it because it is the most infuriating thing because it actually feels disrespectful.
Yes.
Like especially if it's a work thing or it's a business thing, I immediately went, I'm not helping you. Which I did eventually, help sort everything out. But it's like, I just think from a professional sense, like it's a funny joke when you're a kid. But like as an adult, I think like just set your voicemail as a thing that's like, hey, you couldn't reach me, send me a text message.
Yeah.
Or just get rid of it.
Yeah, or just have it go to whatever blank thing.
Yeah.
To all the listeners at home, check right now on your mobile device. Do you have a voicemail? Let's hope it's not the same one from 2014.
It's like, wait, it's also the same thing. Thank you, Zane, for that public service announcement. But it's also the same thing as emails. Like, some people still use their email from like 2006.
Oh,
and it's like,
yeah.
and it's like, I don't understand how I'm meant to...
Pixie
Yeah, it's like, how do I take you seriously when your name is Fluffy Bunny 49? And it's like, what? Like, I think...
just use that email for spam now. I think there was a point where you started going to work and it was like, okay, I need an email with my name in it.
Yeah.
You know?
I never had a funny email. I never did it.
What?
Yeah, I never did it.
I had my nickname, which was Pudsy, Pudsy01@hotmail.com.
Pudsy.
Pudsy.
Nice. I had Hey That's Me 101. I had Hey That's Me, and I had Hey That's Me 101, and I had I Don't Understand You.
You're an email queen.
I Don't Understand You 1021.
That's brilliant.
We're digging up some gems today. That's great.
Yeah, but that's it. Those are my crimes against email humanity.
Is that it? Are you sure you don't have
Did
one
you
more?
did you share?
Do I have one more?
Was there one more?
Do I have one more?
Oh, I'm just asking.
It felt like very. It's like I've tracked it.
I thought I was about to be. I thought it was in 60 minutes. I was about to be exposed. Tracy
Zane
Grimshaw
and
was
I
like,
have done a background
Are you
investigation.
sure? Are you sure?
All right. What's the next point? There's
Avoid conference calls. Get to know each other over coffee meetings, industry events, and unless it's really important, don't do conference calls. I think it's like things have changed a lot recently where it's like a lot of meetings have to be over Zoom and stuff because like in person's not practical.
Yes.
However, I feel like conference calls could be so much shorter or could literally be sorted out with an email.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, definitely.
like I do think so much time is wasted. Also because I think there's less realization on like a Zoom call or something that you're actually in a meeting, you know, because you're still kind of on your computer.
Yeah, for sure.
And to be honest, I get distracted. It's so easy to get distracted on there.
Oh, this reminds me of a particular Zoom meeting that the three of us had one time.
Zane, we said we'd never bring this up again. Stop.
Okay.
Okay, fine, tell them.
No. No, I won't bring it up.
No.
That was a good bit. I'll edit this out. That was a funny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The council one. Remember the council? Zoom? Remember we were all laughing?
Oh, I thought we were talking about a different one. But
Wait,
yes,
what?
now I do know. We were at a...
Yeah, the
Wait,
one that I
what?
wasn't present at.
We have fun on our Zoom calls.
Oh, that one. Wait. no.
Wait, are you talking about the one or the... I've lost.
There's two.
Okay, but
lost.
I'm going to tell a story. Now.
Okay.
It's going to be...
Wait, was this the one when it was just you and me and the other people we were working with?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think we did a debrief.
Yes,
about this.
No,
yeah, we did
yeah,
debrief
yeah,
of this.
yeah.
But I'll tell one story that could possibly be the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is we were at we were
We're gonna have to cut so much of this out.
That's fine.
We were at a
It'll be a
seminar.
bonus chunk.
Yeah.
okay. Here's the story.
Sorry. Tell the story, Zed.
We were at a workshop. That was sort of like a serious thing, and what was happening? We were.
Oh no.
We were. Oh, I'm worried that there's actually a couple now that I've started speaking to similar. But some of us were in person, some of us were online, and we had a chat going privately at the same time. And
wait, weren't we all just in the same room?
No, you were at home.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That was a different one that also we're not
that's
going to
right.
bring up now.
We're just not very well behaved, I don't
I know. I think it's so easy to get distracted, especially when things are like taking longer than they should be. And what happens is we had a personal chat going, but we forgot that our faces could be seen.
Yeah.
So like, I think Tarek and I were in person where the conversation is happening, but then also because we can see Zane's face on the screen, because it was sort of like a hybrid event. We're watching Zane respond to our messages, and so then it's like becomes a bit of a game where you're like, oh, can I make Zane laugh? But then Zane will laugh, which will then trigger us to laugh. But then Zane will watch us respond to him laughing, and then it was like you can't stop.
Yeah.
You know, it's that thing about laughter. It's like it's like once you kind of spur it, it's viral.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
Especially like I feel like us three in particular, when we're creating content, we can get sometimes like we make ourselves laugh quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then it's really hard because we want to get the bit recorded like without laughter, right? But Like, I had to leave last week. Remember that? I was like, I'm leaving the room.
yeah.
I'm not feeding into this. Like,
Immediately. Zane's got, I got like the challenge of like, don't laugh. It's so funny. Speaking of laughter, let's move on to the next one.
can I just also dwell on that and the banging noise and the bad internet connection that we experienced with a really lovely professional trainer.
That is actually so true. That is so true. Is that like the other thing is that when internet is bad, it ruins everything. Conference calls get ruined. Like we were on one where the internet kept cutting out, so you're kind of missing what's happening, and then there was a banging that was occurring in the background because it was cutting out. It was like it'd like come up really loudly, and then it would go quiet. Then it'd be like bang, bang.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't hear anything for like 5 seconds. Like, you okay there?
Yeah.
So maybe if you are on a conference call, just maybe let your fellow housemates know that you're going into a very professional call, or find another space or area that's a bit quieter.
Yeah.
With a strong internet connection.
Yeah.
And that was how we pulled back in.
Yeah, and that's how we moved on to the next point.
Yes.
Which was
is
exercise will make you productive. It will clear your mind, process any negative energy, and give you a win every day.
yes.
I agree.
Yeah, to me, my biggest thing about, I just think mental health in like, for me personally, I can only speak from my perspective, but the biggest thing that has made me a better person, has taught me the most and allowed me to like actually deal with emotions, process things, and just be a healthy human being is exercise.
Yeah.
Like there's something about like sweating, doing hard things every day that like you don't always want to do it is such, like words can't even explain how good it is for you in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the outlook of exercise, but I've never made it into a successful routine. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just I've not found the right thing for me, or I just can't, like, I quite literally cannot be bothered. But yeah, I understand it, and I feel it when I do go out of my way to exercise, or I do have a couple weeks in a row where I'm getting to get out there and climb and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not quite there yet. Yeah.
That's okay though. Yeah. I think like it's still important like that you will find time when you do need it as well. Yeah. I've started a 30-day yoga course.
Bang.
That's free online, and I'm on day 2 today. Yeah. And I feel great. Yeah. But I always strive to, like, especially for work, if you can make your transit to work either walking or riding a bicycle or riding a skateboard or something that involves your body, I think you'll have, without doubt, 10 times better of a day than if you were to drive. Because also when you're driving, there's so many things going on that you're responding to, that if you're not careful, you will start to take on and react and get caught in those feelings. Because think about driving, it's like literally humans will like clash in everyday society. You put them in a box with an engine, it's going to just heighten the whole idea of humans conflict. Yeah, so I think something about, also even when you're like, for example, on a bikeway or on a path and you're jogging past people or you're riding past people, there's always a cursory nod. Cursory? Courtesy nod.
Courtesy, yeah.
Courtesy.
Or some other.
If you're in the metaverse, there may be a cursor.
Sorry. Curtis.
If you're in the metaverse, someone might be called Curtis.
Curtis.
It's me, Curtis.
There's something nice. There's like some idea of community about when you're seeing other people doing, active work.
Yeah.
And you.
Yeah.
There's something nice about that. More
Yeah.
of a human connection.
Yeah.
Very rarely
Agreed.
have I pulled up next to someone and smiled and they've smiled back. They usually just like turn away instantly. It's really weird. But,
I make a point of smiling at people.
Yeah.
And like when you get into your own head in your car and you're like just vibing out to whatever music you're listening to, and sometimes you'll stop at the stoplight and you're like, okay, I need to contain myself because other people are going to move their heads and they're going to see. Now I'm like, nah.
vibe it out.
This will make someone's day.
Yeah.
Looking back and being like, wow, she's going for it.
I love that. It reminds me of the time you pulled up in the driveway and you had some song going really loud and you were so into it, and then I was in front of the car, I was like just waving really politely and you're like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I love it. Cool.
Next.
Yeah, nice. Don't follow the news, particularly online. It's mostly bullshit.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Do not follow it.
I find it really easy to not follow the news.
Same.
But I also haven't got any news applications or links. I've disabled notifications from Google because they somehow make a way into my phone
That's
with
bizarre.
news things. So I had to jump in and disable all these notifications. So I think,
Yeah, I think I struggle with it a bit because I like to be like up to date on things, and I think I'm always interested in it. But I've been working really hard to I've blocked a lot of the news websites I go to, and stopped all notifications. Made it more difficult. I've put like methods in place to make it harder for me to have to access the internet. And therefore access news. I think once you realize that the news is made to make you feel emotions and that it's always manipulating you, I think it's just not worthwhile. Especially like the absolute ridiculous news that is out there.
Yes.
Like these things about like where to get the cheapest meat. It's like, how is this news? How is this news?
Go to your
I don't
butcher.
know. If
Like-
you genuinely knew where the cheapest meat was, I would like to know.
But like it's
At
just
the
like
source.
Yeah. Find a farmer.
Get a goat.
Get a
Get a goat. Eat your goat.
Can I also jump in? Maybe some tips is to like find a few sources that you trust, like independent journalists that aren't attached to big media corporations of your locale, and to maybe set aside some time in your week where you will go there and update yourself or find the articles that relate to you on a personal level. Finding these outlets or these different forms that are actually like striving for a non-biased, non-evocative point of view in terms of journalism.
Yeah.
I actually think this is a really interesting point to be talking a little bit about where Web3 technology is taking us as well. I think what's happening in this shift towards sort of Web3 blockchain technology and with a lot of this decentralized media is that power is being given back to the creators. It's also in Web 2, you know, like we're seeing things like Substack, these Patreon services and stuff like that, but it's only going to get more as people can actually build their own blockchains and people can be decentralized innovators, people providing content where people pay for a fee, etc., or they like subscribe or whatever it is. I think that is the future of how we absorb content, and it's way more valuable, especially because then you as an individual can choose what you want to read, the kind of information you want to be absorbing, because the information you absorb fundamentally changes actually how you operate on a day-to-day basis. If you wake up and all you're seeing is all this negative stuff, all this fear-mongering, right? That is how you start your day. It's why I think replace the news by reading something good every morning. I really like this idea of reading a couple of pages of like a good, like, self-development or like mindset book or something of interest to you, so that you're starting your day with new ideas that you carry with you throughout the day.
It's also a part of developing your practice, right? Is you need to be researching and trying out different things or seeing new perspectives. And reading is probably one of those, the best things to do for that.
100%. Also, if you look back in history, all, if not most, of the sort of greatest innovators, impactors in the world read regularly. Because it's where information's coming from. And I think it's also this idea with a book, someone has invested hundreds, if not thousands of hours to articulate something compared to like a social media post or a quick news article. Someone has put time and effort and energy and put their reputation on the line to produce this information.
May I also tangentialize off of that point back to phone calls and emails, is maybe that's another good analogy for if you're writing an email, it is a chance to be more articulate and deliberate, whereas a phone call can be avoided because you will be caught in the heat of the moment and you won't be as articulate.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point.
And also I think that you will find out about the world's events through your friends, naturally. And I think that is a much more personal way to be absorbing information as well, and gaining insight into how others feel about this, and sharing like that sort of human sensation of, wow, this thing's happening, like this makes me feel this way, yeah, me too, you know, a bit of a sense of connection there.
I think it's really about making it work for you. So don't let the news corporations or news media use you as a consumer. Use the news corporations as a tool to inform you as you want it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Take ownership and have agency in the information you consume. Next up, avoid stimulants. He says, I include passion as one of these. This one's really interesting.
This is contentious,
maybe. I mean, I love coffee. I do.
You love a drop.
Mate,
Love a drop.
I had that coffee at the start of this podcast, and I am going at like 120% right now. I'm so focused.
Oh, it's brilliant. I'm on 2 coffees, and I had a bit of pre-workout before my workout today.
Whey powder.
Yeah.
I'm pumping. Like, I'm feeling great. But here's, like, I know that, you know, I consume a ridiculous amount of caffeine. But I think it's one of those things that I actually just love it. Like, I actually just really enjoy it. And it's something that I think it excites me. I love working on that caffeine buzz. Like, I just really love writing and thinking. And it's like one of those things that kind of activates the energy that I already have in me. And I just really enjoy it. And it's not something I want to give up.
So would you say you use it as a tool though? You're not just actually just consuming it for the sake of it.
No.
You are setting intentions on how you interrelate with this stimulant. And you are getting some sort of benefit from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely the case. Now, off of that, this comment about passion as one of the most dangerous drugs. He has another article in it. I can't remember if I've shared it with both of you. I think I've sort of shared it around. But basically what he talks about is that passion is a really dangerous substance. The reason being is it gets you excited about things in the short term and pulls you away from long-term execution.
Yes.
Because you're constantly chasing the new bright thing.
Yeah.
I suffer with this immensely.
Yeah.
So I get very excited. I'm very passionate. And what it does is it just keeps me like bouncing and balancing things. And I can't actually execute on things because I'm constantly chasing the new thing.
Yeah.
And so I think one thing that I'm working on is being much more deliberate with how I use my passion. Having time for that. Like giving myself time. All right, whatever I'm interested in, I'm going to pursue this. But if I'm actually interested in it, I need to invest in it. So like one thing that I'm doing now is like I'm starting to learn a little bit more about like AI and generative art. And I'm going, I can't keep just researching randomly this stuff. I need to actually put some money where my mouth is. I need to buy a course. I need to sit down, I need to do the course. And if I want to keep learning about it, then I can, I've put my skin in the game. I'm not just chasing a whim. I'm actually putting skin in the game to execute on this and research it deliberately to gain those skills and then apply them, not just to be willy-nilly with everything. Because otherwise I think you can just get lost in passion.
Yeah, and as artists, when you're in the ideation stage, it's really easy to come up with ideas because naturally, you know, you want to do lots of things. But turning that into the process, I think, is where a lot of people might, you know, struggle with. Me personally, I have a lot of ideas for great things, and even not just limited to my creative processes, but my life processes as well. Actually going from that sounds great, that would benefit me, to doing it is like quite a leap.
Yeah.
100%.
Next one. Be wary of giving your time away just because someone asked.
Yeah, saying no.
Yeah. Saying no is a big one for time management.
That's hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Also when I think people are asking stuff of you.
Yeah.
When it's like you're actually being required to like give a lot to a situation, or like, you know, someone's asking for information, they're asking like, you know, for feedback on something and that kind of thing. And I think there is like a certain level where it's like, yeah, like, or it's friends or something like that. But it's also one thing that I think a lot about is if someone's asking something of my time quite deliberately, you know, like they're like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you read over this? You know, I assess, is this someone that I feel like would return the favor? You know, in, you know, where this is a mutual thing, it's not just their taking. / is this someone that I've seen already put the work in to figure it out themselves first? My biggest, I think for me personally, one of my biggest pet peeves is people that ask for help but don't try and help themselves first. And I think that is where, for me, it's like a straight no. It's like, if you can't show evidence that you have attempted to solve your problem yourself first, then I don't think anyone should be helping you.
Or there's no value in me helping you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to keep reaching out for more.
Yeah.
And I can actually give you a lesson by saying no to you.
Yeah.
You need to be working on this yourself. And then when you've shown me that you're worth my time, I will give it to you.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
It's also just time management, right?
Yeah.
You know, if someone's coming to you with a problem or asking you for help or insight on a project, whatever it is, if they haven't started that process themselves, it's the long way round to get someone's opinion on it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not being decisive. It's not good time management.
Yeah.
You know, and you're gonna get more confused because you're adding a different perspective to something that you haven't even fully realized yet properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Next up, don't play cell phone games. I don't think we even need to talk much about this, but it's like...
I've never played cell phone games.
Same.
Well...
I play I play the brain ones.
Yeah.
And there's like my favorite ones are like the speed reading ones. I love it. I'm like, yeah, I remember so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that's good because you're also like doing a bit of brain training, I guess. Like,
yeah.
But
I think it's applicable to social media though too.
Yeah.
It's not just this idea of games, because I think there's actually a lot of value in playing games. That's maybe a topic for another day, but in moderation, I think it's really beneficial to relaxing and restoring and creative thinking.
I would say deliberate and conscious. Doing things deliberately and consciously. I don't think games on your phone though. I think, you know, like I do enjoy, like we're playing a really great game on the Xbox, which is like a co-op game. It's like a collaborative thing, and we play it maybe once a week or like once every couple of weeks when we have a time to sit down, but we deliberately go, we're going to play this game now. Yeah. And we're actually, you know, like engaging a story and there's an arc to it, right? Whereas like this idea of just things that stop you being bored or alone with yourself, anything that's doing that, get rid of it. You might as well read a book.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Pick a set of clothes you like and are comfortable in and buy a lot of them. Everyone from the president to Steve Jobs realizes that this is a way to cut down on unnecessary decisions. It makes you more focused on what is important. I totally disagree.
Yep, thank you. I'm not having it.
Though, can I agree with it to the point of like the comfort in finding a style that works for you, but also to explore different things at the same time?
If you're spending too much time on your outfits, the first thing to do is to make a decision on what cuts work for you, and then get 3 staple outfits that go together, whether it's like a dress or a pair of pants that have a bunch of different shirts with it. But that does not mean that you have to pick one style of clothes, because it's limiting your creativity on a daily basis. There's creative thinking that can go into an outfit. It's how you're presenting yourself to the world. It can change your confidence on a daily basis, and it's a sense of identity. Having the fluidity of being comfortable with changing your identity and trying different aesthetics on a daily basis. The daily practice of that can influence the rest of your life. Like, I don't think that's something that you should go out of your way to cut out of your life completely. If you're not a clothes person or a fashion person, you're not into it, it's just a chore to you, then that's fine. But like in a small way, whether you just like, okay, I like these 4 things from Target and that's what I want to buy all the time.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That was fucking awesome.
Whoa, that was like an IRL glitch. What was that?
We're glitching out.
No, but if those are the things that you want to buy, then but just find small ways to like push yourself, you know, because it's worth it. It pays off, and it's like it can unlock so much creative potential that's like just sitting there.
Well, I think I totally agree with you. I think where his point probably comes in is about get rid of unnecessary decisions. That's what he's pushing, is because like, you lose a lot of time and energy figuring out what to wear, and you're using, like, we have a limited amount of focused decision-making attention every day. And if you're wasting it on lots of little things, and then you're not able to actually do it when things matter, I think that's a challenge. I think it's good to have I like to express myself through my clothing, you know, and as I think both of you do as well. And I think like that's always good, but it's figuring out whether it's fashion or not, it's figuring out where are my unnecessary decisions that I could automate to make it easier. Like a morning routine. Every morning, it's like I have the same routine and the same things that need to get done. I don't always do it. Like today I didn't get everything because I ran a little bit of time, but like it's a consistent practice and process.
Yeah.
I wake up and...
Oh, sorry.
No. So I was going to say, like, I wake up in the morning, like someone was asking me, they're like, how do you like work out all the time? Like, how do you do that? It's like, for me, it's become just a non-negotiable. So I identify that I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is exercise. Just because that's like my routine. And now it's like, it's not hard. It's like, it's just the one thing that I do because it's my identity. It's like, I get up and I do that.
Yeah.
And so I don't even have to decide, am I going to work out today? It's like, no, I do.
Yeah. Totally. Attaching it to your personality.
Yeah.
It's something that Anthony Robbins talks about. I
Yeah.
think, right? It's like, what are the things that you want to be known for that you can use to like present yourself?
Yeah.
Not to just others, but for your own being as well.
Yeah. How do you identify?
Yeah.
And off of identity, the next one is treat yourself like a startup. I think this is something that we've wrestled with a little bit, but it's like fundamentally around take yourself seriously, take your work seriously, take your time and how you operate as an individual seriously. Set up structures, treat yourself like a business. I think it's really important. It's hard to do because you constantly get distracted. You're constantly bouncing around. You've got your passion projects and your real job, your hobbies, like all of those things. But I think fundamentally what it is taking yourself seriously, understanding that your pursuit of excellence, your pursuit of learning, your pursuit of becoming a better person is really, really important.
Can I actually bring up one of the recent quotes you put in the Discord?
Yeah.
This quote I think resonates. Self-respect isn't about feeling better. Self-respect is about knowing your own value. Knowing that every human, no matter who they are, deserves basic rights and dignities, that every consciousness is sacred and must be treated as such.